From Dunne using her looks, not her athletic ability to gain popularity, to her negatively affecting the long-term health of the sport, here's the real reason why Olivia Dunne is bad for gymnastics. Now, it's gotta be said that she's clearly using her looks and physique to garner attention. And let's just say, she's raking in the big bucks. While it's unclear just how much she earns through deals and promotions, industry analysts think she might be making as much as $2 million in 2023. That's no small number. Dunne herself has even commented on her big earnings, saying that it's something she'd be proud of. To get an idea of just how popular she is in the college gymnastics scene, keep in mind that she's currently got a whopping 4 million followers on Instagram. She's pretty much a mini celebrity already, while still being in college. Now, there's no harm in being able to market yourself well, but some folks have an issue with how Dunne and other female athletes are forced to depict themselves on social media. There's no denying that because of how popular Olivia is, she's going to inspire many other athletes to follow in her footsteps. Because of this, you're going to end up with a whole slew of female athletes who are more focused on their looks and online persona, rather than their athletic abilities and skills. It's creating a pretty toxic trend in the world of female gymnasts, and Dunne's massive rise to fame is undoubtedly a huge contributor to it. You really end up hurting the spirit of the sport when it becomes all about who's able to get more followers or brand deals instead of who's performing the best. That's not to say that female athletes shouldn't be allowed to play up their looks if they want. But when there's such a huge disparity between the money and fame being given to athletes like Olivia, compared to someone who's focusing on working on their athletic skills, it becomes clear that there's only one right choice in this case. Olivia's example might force other female athletes to inevitably pose in suggestive ways online, just to compete in terms of popularity. It sets a bad precedent, and honestly feels like a big step backward for the world of female gymnasts. Like, can you imagine being a gymnast who's not comfortable with selling her looks and physique to a bunch of random people on the internet, but essentially being forced to do it because that's the only way to make money in the sport anymore? It sounds like a terrible situation to be in, and giving folks like Dunne a bigger platform might end up turning that into a reality. And guess what? It's not just me who feels this way. Take Stanford's Tara Vanderveer as an example. She's one of the most successful coaches in women's college basketball, so she knows a thing or two about how this field works. According to her, it kind of feels like women's gymnastics is like a swinging pendulum. Whenever you feel like progress is being made, it ends up being undone, mainly due to the example Olivia and other athletes are setting. Tara added that you can't ignore how race is a big part of the dynamic here too. Most of the successful female moneymakers are white. That's not all though. Most of these women often post themselves in pictures that uphold the male gaze, and while some of it might feel like it's because of social media, Tara believes that this issue is fundamentally the same as what women faced even 70 years ago. It's a push and pull between women trying to uphold their body image and femininity, while also trying to be taken seriously as athletes. It's a problem that female athletes have been facing for literal generations. And just when you thought some decent progress was being made, Olivia and her army of 4 million followers on Instagram are here to prove you wrong. And let's not forget there are some serious safety concerns here. You don't just go around becoming a celebrity while still in college, with millions of male followers, who are straight up down bad for your looks, without having to deal with some of those lunatics disrupting your day-to-day life. According to Bleacher Report, Dunne can pretty much no longer attend in-person classes at LSU anymore. And let's not forget, an incident did actually take place at LSU's opening meet of the 2023 season at the University of Utah. A bunch of gymnasts were allegedly harassed by a group of men who were demanding to see Dunne. And this wasn't just a group of 3 or 4 men either. Nope. There were at least about 100 to 200 people there, all chanting like crazy, just to get a glimpse at Olivia. The worst part is that this not only put other gymnasts' security at risk, but it also utterly ruined their performances. So Olivia is making gymnastics a much more hostile environment, not just by regressing the sport by about 70 years, but also by actively causing disturbances in the performance of her peers and fellow gymnasts. In fact, The situation got so bad that LSU's athletic department had to hire private security. The team was then escorted for the rest of the season, and thankfully, no other incidents took place. Now you could argue that it's not really Olivia's fault. After all, it's not like she could control those men, or even told them to be there. But it just goes to show how being so massively popular, while creating a network of fans who follow you solely for your looks and suggestive images, can backfire in the worst of ways. And it also sets up a dangerous and toxic future for gymnastics in general. Like, what if every single event now needed security personnel present because fans of some female gymnast were demanding to see her? That's downright scary to think about, but with how things are going, that's exactly where the sport is headed. And I don't know about you, but if I were to perform at an event where I knew Olivia was present, it'd automatically cause me to be a bit nervous. I mean, with her track record, there's no saying what could end up happening. But despite all this, Olivia is pretty clear where she stands. And as it turns out, she doesn't think she's to blame for any of this. During an interview with the Today Show, Dunne mentioned how women aren't responsible for how men look at them and objectify them. And even her coach seems to have her back. According to him, if people today place such a high value on self-expression, then it is impossible to choose to be offended when someone chooses to express themselves in a way that you find objectionable. That's just not how it works, you know. But here's the thing. Not everyone buys Dunne's logic. For one, it's not like people are objectifying her out of the blue. From her social media, it becomes pretty clear that her pictures are purposely suggestive, catering to the male gaze, as I mentioned before. She's clearly selling that part of her physique to her audiences, so for her to say that it's completely out of her control doesn't really ring as true as she wants you to think. And that's not all. Some folks have even accused her of knowing exactly what she's doing. After all, she's playing the system and making millions in the process. That couldn't have just been by accident, could it? And again, she's free to market herself however she wishes to. But if it comes at the cost of the safety of other gymnasts and the overall health of the sport, then I do believe it's worth calling out. Though you've got to wonder just what the solution is in all this. I mean, it's not like you can expect Dunne to say goodbye to all those amazing checks she's getting, even if it means she's got to deal with a crowd or two at some events, and with her popularity likely not ending anytime soon. It really does seem like she's going to be a trendsetter in the world of gymnastics, as bad as that sounds to a lot of other female athletes. It's going to be tough for them, because not only will they now need to focus on their athletic prowess, but also their looks and social media presence. And like I said, you just can't deny how race plays a big role in all this, with it being predominantly white athletes, who tend to be the biggest moneymakers thanks to their larger social media influence. But from Dunne dangerously affecting the long-term health of the sport, to her using her looks, not her athletic ability to gain popularity, that was the real reason why Olivia Dunne is bad for gymnastics.